Thank you, Chairman Biggs. I appreciate it. And thanks to the ranking member, Ms. McBath. Thanks to the witnesses for joining us today. Criminal defense attorney Mike Chase has documented some of the most preposterous crimes in the federal code. For example, it's a federal crime to sell Swiss cheese without holes in it. Some people prefer Swiss cheese without holes in it, but it's a crime to sell it. It's also a federal crime to receive through interstate commerce a small toy ball that doesn't contain a warning that says this toy is a small ball. And apparently it is still a crime to sell canned green beans and call them stringless unless you're sure they are in fact stringless. So prosecutors may be unlikely to charge some of these ridiculous crimes on their own, but overcriminalization is a serious problem nonetheless because it's an invitation to arbitrary prosecution and selective political prosecution. We can see and quantify who the overcriminalization problem affects most directly: people who are at a social or economic disadvantage, people who don't have the lawyers to defend themselves against such prosecutions with, immigrants, people with disabilities. Between federal, state, local, and tribal criminal justice systems, nearly 2 million people in the U.S. are incarcerated, costing taxpayers $182 billion a year. Congress often crafts new criminal offenses and expands existing crimes without considering whether the federal government should even be involved in the underlying conduct. Recent studies estimate there are nearly 5,000 statutory federal crimes and between 300 to 400,000 crimes in the regulatory code. According to one study, Congress created 56 new crimes every year from 2000 to 2008, despite the fact that crime rates were actually declining during this time period. While federal criminal law plays a vital role undoubtedly in protecting the public, it should complement state law rather than duplicate it, and it should not be the source of an extraordinary burden in the lives of the people. Some people have seemed to escape the trend of overcriminalization. Criminal prosecutions of white-collar crimes, from public corruption to tax evasion, have been declining for decades. Under the current administration, those statistics are likely to plummet further, given the Department of Justice's gutting of the department's top anti-corruption unit and its removal of its own power to charge politicians and public officials for bribery and extortion in some cases, its disbanding of anti-corruption task forces, and its purge of veteran prosecutors and agents who are dedicated to public safety, but who have run afoul of the new pinched political correctness standards of the administration. These changes have taken a bad situation and they made it worse. So instead of playing politics and trying to prove who's tougher on crime, we should work in a bipartisan manner to craft evidence-based policy that keeps all of us safe. We could do more to fight crime by addressing underlying issues that give rise to crime and thoroughly studying the criminal code. During last week's House Judiciary Committee consideration of the reconciliation bill, I tried to restore funding to hundreds of critical grant programs that were cut by DOJ. Unfortunately, my colleagues refused to even discuss them and yet voted against our amendment to restore funding to these programs addressing the needs of crime victims, victims of rape and sexual assault. I think that we can all agree that we need to make sure that our federal criminal laws are clear and fairly enforced. We cannot have a criminal justice system that holds the president's allies above the law, gutting enforcement of fraud and corruption offenses and pardoning January 6 cop beaters and fraudsters who happen to be allies of the president, while threatening criminal prosecution against journalists, politicians, and peaceful protesters who speak out against the current administration. I look forward to working with my colleagues to ensure that the federal criminal code and its enforcement serves the public safety of all the people. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.